Welcome to the Homeschool High School podcast, brought to you by Seven Sisters Homeschool.com and the Ultimate Homeschool Podcast Network. I'm Vicki, and I'm so glad to talk to you today about one of my very favorite things in the whole world, and that's studying psychology. So, most of you guys know that besides being a homeschool mom, I'm also a counselor, and I've been working at this for decades. My other hat, which helped fund my homeschool fun in all the years of educating my kids. I've worked as a counselor, and I love the job, not because it's going to ever make me rich, but because I get to use the gifts that God has given me to help folks feel better, and feeling better matters. So we all matter, body, soul, and spirit. And so this is a way to serve. So why should teens study psychology in homeschool high school? So I firmly believe that teens will benefit from studying psychology because of a lot of stuff. So let's talk about it. All right, the first thing is psychology is a course that helps teens to become more self-aware. So they learn the wonder of how God made them and how God made their minds and their bodies, their biology and their emotions and their thoughts, and their behaviors and their choices all to work together in a positive way, or sometimes in not so helpful ways. And so psychology helps teens get an introduction, a window into how their brains and bodies work and how they work together. It's absolutely fabulous. Another thing that is helpful for teens studying psychology in high school is they are building a good transcript. For the college-bound teens, a lot of colleges these days are looking for a half credit, sometimes more, but usually half credit of a social science. And so psychology is, by definition, a social science. That's really cool because it's a fun course. There are other topics that are social sciences as well that you could count, like human development or sociology. Sometimes they expand that to other subjects, even like economics. But for my favorite social science, it's psychology. And so that builds a transcript that is college attractive. And, for teens who don't need to worry about a real competitive transcript, but want it to look good, and they don't need a social science for their college, it makes a Sparkle elective. And a Sparkle elective is an elective that just shows that the teen is willing to explore an interest, to add breadth to their studies. And so it looks really, really good on a transcript. So let's talk a little bit more about Seven Sisters psychology curriculum. So I created the psychology curriculum. It's the Introduction to Psychology from a Christian perspective. So this is a course that is made to help teens like psych. All right. So when my teens were in high school, we were homeschooling, and I wanted a faith-based psychology curriculum because that's what I was doing. So I wanted them to have an introduction to psychology. And I could not find in those days a psychology curriculum for teens. Over the years, there are other texts that are good that have come out. What I like about Seven Sisters curriculum, having done it myself, is because it has a different slant in how it's presented than most other psychology curriculum for high schoolers. So a lot of psych curriculum for high schoolers is more AP slanted. And so they are trying to teach to the AP exam, or a pretty intense course, even if it's not AP slanted. So they're almost trying to get them ready, for the material they'll have in college. So it's a repetition in their college psychology courses. So Anyway, it's a lot. It's a lot. And it for my teens, what I wanted them to do is to like psych. And so, like all Seven Sisters curriculum, what we did is taught the scope and sequence that is necessary for that psychology half credit. Um, but we taught it in the Seven Sisters way, which is no busy work. We don't overteach. And it is written aimed towards the average high schooler so that the average high schooler can love what they're learning. Isn't that a neat idea? So, like we want teens that even aren't going to college to like psych. Now, for teens who need that honors level, like they want to really be a level 5 competitive transcript, or they want to go into psychology as their major in college, just like all Seven Sisters curriculum, at the front of the book, we have ways for teens to level up. So they can go from their average credit up to a powerful level 5 credit by adding some things that are meaningful to them. So they'll read some extra books or do some extra projects, and there are things they can choose from each chapter according to what interests them. So not only do they get the psychology basics in a no busy work, kind of lighthearted way, but they also, for those interested, are building research skills, leaning into interest skills. And so they're getting a psychology credit that really matters to them. If that makes sense? Yeah. So anyway, that is why so many of the teens that we have worked with over the years have really loved the Seven Sisters curriculum, because it's not killing them. They are not learning every single detail about psychology so much that their brain hates the course. But instead, they like psych and have really explored things about psychology that are meaningful to them, that they can apply to their lives today. Isn't that really neat? All right. So a distinctive about Seven Sisters psychology from a Christian perspective is we have that Christian worldview integrated into the curriculum, not being preachy. So this is not a curriculum that's out to judge a kid, freak a kid out, insult a kid. It's not going to have long sermons in it. It's just slanted in that direction. We do know that there are homeschoolers in states that have reimbursement available for homeschool curriculum. And so in those states, there are some really strict rules about what states are willing to reimburse. So it can't be overtly religious. So for families that want the reimbursement, we have a version of the Introduction to Psychology that is written for the states that are reimbursed. And so you look under the tab at Seven Sisters for states that reimburse in the store. And all of those curricula in that category that have been slanted towards the reimbursement requirements is there's a red star, looks like an award on the label that says appropriate for states that reimburse. And so you've got the right one for reimbursement, because some states, they will review the curriculum and make sure that it is working, for what their requirements are. All right, so let's talk about what is in a psychology curriculum, and especially Seven Sisters. So most high school texts will cover the brain and how it works, just the basics. They're not getting a graduate degree in this, but just the basic understanding of how the brain works and the parts of the brain. They learn about perception, which is fun. It's like understanding more from a psychology version about the 5 senses, because the brain's doing that, the body's doing that. They knew a little bit about genetics, because that's important to psychology. Then they learn about learning. And one of the most important parts of psychology is how we learn academically, how we learn our behavior. So we talk about that in the textbook. all of these topics in a way that is more fun and less, let's be serious and boring, okay? We have 2 chapters on the history of psychology, which is so much fun. Like, even the teens who didn't think that they were going to like psych, by the time we got to through the history of psychology in our co-ops, in our group classes, they found that they really loved the ideas of psychology, and could really jump in there on the rest of the course, because psychology over the eons of time has been a really interesting topic. Different cultures look at things in different ways. Then we talk about communication. Well, that's important. So, we have some basic communication skills that teens can apply to the rest of life. We talk about needs and motivation, what helps them tick. Look a little bit at personality and theory, and some of the extra things they can lean into are some of the free versions of different personality tests, which teens, for the ones that I worked with my kids and the ones in co-op and group classes, they have just really enjoyed those personality tests. And when they read them, they go like, oh, I'm pretty cool. That's really interesting. So we talk about personality theory, and also in that we integrate a little bit of how to read about research, like how to know that this is a decent study that I am reading. So anyway, okay. One of the most important chapters is sleep and dreams. Teens sometimes forget that sleep is really important. Us grown-ups sometimes forget that sleep is really important. But it is vital for the way our brains and our bodies work. And so we talk about sleep and some about dreams. And that is a practical, useful, and sometimes life-changing topic. We talk a little bit about abnormal psychology. Like I said, this is not a college level, it's not a graduate level course, but just a little bit so teens understand, can do a little perspective taking about things that glitch with psychology, like depression and anxiety and things like that. We talk a little bit about crisis intervention. And this is in a lot of high school level textbooks, but not all. And what we do is, in a very gentle way, help teens to recognize a crisis situation. Like if they have a friend that's in a crisis situation, and here are some basics to do that help a teen in a way that stays safe. So it's very low key, very gentle, and very appropriate for teens. Good life skill. We talk a little bit about psychological testing. There's the college entrance tests. There are IQ tests. There's all these tests that teens may have choices to take, and at some time in their lives. And so, how to understand what they are, because that's part of psychology. Do a little more on research and statistics. Again, understanding what a good study is. And then my favorite thing is careers in psychology. Let me just do a little sidetrack here for a second. So one of my hopes and dreams in this course is that teens will have enough fun liking psych, like learning about psychology, liking what they're interacting with, leaning into things that are of interest to them, that they start to feel a call in their souls to go into psychology. It is one of the most important fields right now. In my work as a counselor here in our local community, there are not enough mental health professionals, and this is a world that is full of stress. And sometimes teens and adults feel anxious or have panic attacks or feel depressed. That like life can get overwhelming. And what counselors and psychologists and social workers do is help teens and adults get the skills they need to heal depression and anxiety and other things going on in life, and be able to go on and live the rest of their lives in a healthy way. Isn't that a wonderful thing? It's a wonderful job. It's the best job in the world. So I'm hoping that in taking this psychology course, some teens will feel a call in their heart to go study that at college level. Okay. All right. One of the things that we have found over the years is that a lot of teens like not just reading the textbook, but to have the videos to go along with it. And a lot of teens really love the asynchronous learning. So they like online courses, but they want to do it on their time schedule, and rather than have a live class that's always at a certain time. And so at Seven Sisters Homeschool, we worked with the Teachable platform and have uploaded there a video presentation along with some extras to give teens that if they want a video accompaniment to the textbook, it is there. So if you look at the online courses tab at Seven Sisters Homeschool, you'll see the video course for psychology. And it goes along with the textbook. So the textbook's part of the course. And then it has some extra videos and different things that kind of add some sparkle to it. So the teens have been telling me they really are enjoying that. Yeah, take a look at the websites. And then also, when you're teaching co-op, this is a course that's so much fun. If you're teaching psychology in your homeschool co-op, we have also some lesson plans that are things that you can bring to your classroom situation. So extra short videos to show, discussion questions, some extra activities. And so it's broken down for each chapter. And that way you have some engaging things kind of planned out for you in the course. Also at Seven Sisters, there is a free syllabus that you can download for the psychology textbook and follow that. It is a suggested syllabus, so we don't make it part of the curriculum, because some teens will sit down and do 2 or 3 chapters in a week. You know, they just kind of plow through because they get interested and are just charging through, and that's fine. And some like to pace it out over a semester. Some like to really lean into and get a full credit and follow the extra activities for that. So all that information's in the textbook, but there is a free syllabus. If you're interested and want to use it, you can download that too. So it's all here to inspire teens, help them to know themselves and other people better, and maybe hopefully some of them go into psychology as a career. Okay, so teens, I love it when teens study psychology in their homeschool high school years, and hopefully more and more will, so that they enter into adulthood knowing themselves, knowing others, and feeling more confident to head into life and make a difference in the world. Okay, well, this has been the Homeschool High School podcast, brought to you by Seven Sisters Homeschool.com and the Ultimate Homeschool Podcast Network. We will see you next week. And thank you to Seth Tillman for editing and Richie Soares for creating the blog post that goes along with this episode. Okay, see y'all next week.